Okay, hi everyone. This is the Junco sprint for review. It's our last sprint for this release. It started on the 13th of February and is ending today. Ray, do you want to go over platform?
We did RC3 of the Junco bits this morning, right before this meeting. I actually put in the email, I think that it's the 101 atomics. It may actually be 102. I'm not sure. But it's basically the point of its existence is it's got all of the known fixes for atomics. Brian helped me fix a couple problems with Vici and how the downloads page works. That stuff is all automatically generated, and it sort of fell on its face once we had more than 1,000 items in that list. Similar problems with the nightly builds in the wiki, which Brian also fixed. John did a lot of work on the STC distributed primitives test, so that now instead of just checking on the first node, it checks on every node to be sure that the results got sent out correctly. We didn't put a bullet point here, but he also did a bunch of work to make those tests more reliable.
Okay, thanks, Ray. Southbound? Andrea? Are you unmute?
Okay, here I am. Yes, I was unmuting myself. Sorry. So we did a fix for Corsa for basically enabling somebody to reference a class that was brought in by another driver package, but it was not registered to the driver manager by that package, by implementing an abstract driver that basically it has all these classes. For now, it's just one. It's the full meters available. So if you need it, just extend that abstract driver and you get the class, and there is no class loading problem. And while doing some testing for this, I also implemented a CLI command, well, extended the CLI drivers command to show also the parents and the parents of the parents. So we have that. And there was a very interesting contribution from the community side, from a guy that basically implemented the connection to a netconf device not only through username and password, that's the thing that was basically there until now, but also through SSH, and that's fully integrated with the device key subsystem that Sienna developed last year. So it's really good having that, and shout out to him for doing this. And that's both in master and 1.9. And Sean from MicroSemi is also working with my help on some concurrency issues on the message ID that were showing up in 1.9 but not in 1.8. And we have a fix up in Garrett. We're still in the process of review. He's had his hands full these days, so we plan to put it in 1.9.1. That's why it started but not completed. It's 90% done.
Okay, thanks, Andrea. WI? Simon?
Okay, so we've had a contribution from a member of the community who was creating his own custom view and wanted a way to be able to use the existing JSON codecs for converting information about a device to a JSON blob that he could send up to the UI. And so he worked through the issue of basically extending or augmenting the message handler to provide that API. So now views can make a use of that and just use the JSON codecs to create the data to pass up to the UI. In terms of topology 2, we're still working on that. We've completed the sprite layer infrastructure so that now we can have custom backgrounds. Additionally, related to that, we've augmented the null provider and the basic net configs for devices and hosts so that you can choose whether to configure location either by longitude, latitude, if it's a geographic map, or by logical X and Y coordinates, if it's a layout map, so that now the data, the metadata that you attach to these things have a correlation to the underlying background that you're going to show. And then in related or non-related stuff, we've also implemented skeleton code for a new Yang models view. So that's a table view plus details display as an assistance to preparation for the dynamic config demo at ONS.
Okay.
There you go.
Thanks, Simon. Deployment Brigade.
Okay. Since Lucas not here, he's self-QCT for the core asset. So let me present this. First, we merged two patches. One is resource group, which is one of information inside the intent, and the other is allocated bandwidth in connectivity intent compiler. And we have several patches waiting for the internal review. Most are about like a command output and meter stuff. And the one is the intent conversion intent subject compiler, which is some improvement. And we have 4 in progress, 4 patches. One is bandwidth, and the other is enhanced intent installer. This is not intent installer, just enhanced for the float objective. And we have 2 is about OpDTA pipeline. One is for the group handler, but it needs 4 tests because I haven't tested for segment routing and the rerouter application. If I test, I will put it to the review. And the last in progress is extension match for DPA egress data table, which blocked by strong spec. And I already talked to the Saraf, and just few minutes ago, the Procom replied this issue, and I will take a look later. And the other thing is since Lucas finished the interface service documentation in wiki page, and then the other is Pixie server fix for the installation of ONOS plus Minute with 16.04 version of view function. Yeah, so this is our progress.
Thank
you.
Thank you. Packet obstacle?
Yes, so we made a lot of progress, or kind of the finalization of all the protection stuff has gone in, both on the UI front and some bug fixes that we noticed when we started testing with Simulator, I guess. There's a lot of equipment coming in tomorrow, not here, so Luca can hold his peace for now. And the other part is, we've done a lot of made a lot of decisions in terms of what the topology use case will look like with DemoScript, which drivers need, which behaviors are still to be implemented. There's like 1 or 2 labs to talk about. I think that's it.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Virtualization, both Ollie and Houston are unavailable, so we'll skip that. Dynamic configuration brigade.
For Yang runtime and model serializers are implemented, which would help like walking the data node and converting it into XML. Coding and coding is completed. The APIs for model conversion is ready. On the response side, the application, the protocol support for the app is done. Manager implementation is completed. Dynamic config delete is now supported. For netconf, there were protocol-related fixes that would enable the use of netconf as SBI. We have something in progress. So Yang runtime and model. What is in progress is the implementation of those APIs. The service component adapter in ONOS to bring up all the services to the used by ONOS applications. RESTconf integration with Yang runtime, serializers and dynamic config is in progress. Dynamic config listeners and notification is in progress. Integration with Yang runtime is in progress. netconf passive component implementation, that is the netconf translation, and analysis of the demo to model to see if any augmentations, alterations are required or any additional requirements on part of Yang runtime and compiler is needed. That analysis is in progress. That's awesome.
Thanks. QA?
Sure. One of the things we did is we now can run the Delta security tests automatically, and that's like overflow related security. So we have a job for that, and we'll probably start filing bug reports for the Delta soon. Tested some bug fixes. We improved the reporting of the BGPLS test. So it actually looks like it's failing a lot more now, but that's because we're checking the logs in each case. We're now running sanity tests on all the published Docker images instead of just the latest tag. And then I investigated some copycat bugs related to that term ticket and HA.
Okay, thanks, John.
So some bug stats, this sprint, there were 19 resolved and 19 created for a total of 112 OB bugs. High priority bugs, the resource manager being slow, still a big one. There's a couple of HA ones. I think some are in copycat. The first two look like they have part of atomics, and then the other ones appear to be in ONOS.
I think I have a fix for ONOS 5896.
Cool.
Oh, good.
And then there's still the performance regression bugs that have been around for a while.
OpenStack integration. So Hunter sent some updates. They refactored the application to cache virtual network states for better performance, enhanced gateway node setup procedures for minimizing manual configuration steps, did a POC of OVS SNAP feature with multiple gateway nodes, refactored implementation with OVS SNAP in progress, and done some initial design of VM and container mixed networking support. And then, so next week we're going to do Kingfisher planning. This is the proposed Kingfisher schedule. We'll do planning next Tuesday. There's going to be a morning session from 8 to 10 and then a later session from 4 to 6. After that, we'll have a set of 4 sprints. Our focus for Kingfisher is going to be ONS. So what you'll see is that sprint 1 will be focused on any ONS needed work for the demo or collateral, with ONS prep being kind of the week where we're actually, well, that'll take us to the 28th. What we'll plan to do is we'll do a beta build for those that want a bit more hardened image and with the light QA testing. And then there'll be 3 days where it'll be focused on ONS prep, so getting things set up. And then for ONS itself, we're actually going to take a break, so there will be no active sprints then. So what we'll probably do is we'll keep the sprint 1 live so that folks that aren't involved in ONS can continue working through that sprint. And then for sprint 2, it'll be 3 weeks long. Sprint 3 will be 2 weeks. That takes us to feature freeze. And then the last sprint will be a little over 2+ weeks. So what we'll need to make sure is I'll send out the Kingfisher planning slides probably tomorrow. And then as part of that, there are a bunch of new brigades starting up. So we'll make sure that all that information gets in terms of functionality that will be delivered. And then we will be closing the sprint after this meeting. And then I'll start creating new sprints for Kingfisher. But keep in mind, we'll be going to release planning. So use the sprints to kind of help you guys assess what's going to go into the next release. Okay, demos. Andrea?
Yes, here I am. So sorry for not doing this live, but GoToMeeting plus VPN plus UI WebSocket with the machines in ON.Lab does not bode well. So I just made some screenshots. It's easy enough that I can present it this via the screenshots. Can you go to the next slide, Jan, please?
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Okay. So what we implemented this sprint is basically the visualization of the protected trust intent. And there is a new overlay with basically no action that enables to view this in protected intent, and it's the only one that can show the protected intent because it takes the intent and generates the highlight based on primary and backup path. And in the future, we will augment this overlay with provisioning and all other stuff related to protected intents. But right now, it's just for showing. So to view a protected intent, you need to have it in your system. You go into the intent page from the UI, and then you click that little topology button. And basically, Simon implemented a mechanism that will figure out which overlay can show this intent. And so it will go to the proper overlay, in our case, the protection overlay. And Yen, can you go to the next slide, please? And basically show the intent. And we selected the primary path to be green with marching ants, and the backup path to be yellow. And it also highlights the devices that are in the protected intent. So it shows both primary and backup path. And if Yen, go please to the next slide. And if a link, a fail, or some failure occurs on the primary path, it reverts on the backup path automatically without having to contact ONOS. That's the whole idea of the protection. And but we will not show the backup path as green, but only yellow to signify that something is still wrong inside the network. But with the marching ants, so the traffic is flowing over there. That's the idea. Any questions?
Not so much a question as a comment. When I was looking at this kind of before this meeting, I was wondering why the backup path was bolder than the primary path. So I'd like to have a discussion with you about styling the lines to make it a little more intuitive.
Yes, I talked briefly with Jan about this before, and I meant to send an email tonight/tomorrow morning to you in order to have a little discussion about this. Thanks for the comment.
Okay. And presumably we'll talk with Mark too, right?
Yes, absolutely. I will involve him in the discussion.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions? I think we're good. Thanks, Andrea.
No problem. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, I think we're done. So release planning next Tuesday on your calendars. I'll send an email with all the links for slides to update. And then, yes, I know the QA folks are on next Tuesday, so we'll or they will help present. Okay, thanks everyone.
All right.
Thank you.